Welcome to the Explainer! I'm absolutely thrilled to guide you through this one today because we are looking at some of the most fascinating, resilient, and utterly minimalist survivors in the entire natural world. We're looking at a group of organisms that strip life down to its absolute bare essentials, completely challenging everything we think we know about what it means to be an animal.
Okay, let's dive into this with a riddle. What on earth has absolutely zero brain, completely lacks a backbone, but still firmly holds its membership in kingdom Animalia? You know, if you guessed a plant or maybe a fungus, you'd be wrong. The answer is the incredibly unassuming, yet biologically spectacular sea sponge.
Section 1. The simplest animal.
So to figure out where they actually belong, we look at the invertebrate group. Sponges share this massive category with major phyla like mollusks and arthropods. But even among invertebrates, sponges are just uniquely, beautifully basic. They completely break the mold of what we expect an animal to look like.
They belong to Phylum Porifera, which translates quite literally to pore-bearing animals. And as you'll see in just a minute, being pore-bearing isn't just a random physical trait. It's the absolute foundation of their entire existence and survival strategy. It's the whole shebang.
Now, you might be thinking of the ocean when you picture a sponge. And it's true, they're incredibly common and diverse in marine environments, but there is a highly exclusive club of exceptions. Out of all the thousands of sponges in the world, around 150 brave species actually manage to live in fresh water. It's a remarkably small number, sure, but it highlights just how adaptable this incredibly simple biological blueprint can really be.
Section 2. Anatomy of a sponge.
Visually, sponges have an extremely simple structure. Picture something highly branched, cylindrical, and essentially hollow on the inside. In terms of shape, they don't follow strict rules. Actually, they're usually either radially symmetrical or just completely asymmetrical. But the defining feature here, the really important part, is that hollow center. Their body encloses a central cavity called a spongic coel, and literally everything they do revolves around this hollow space.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how these creatures maintain their shape without any real bones. How do they not just collapse? Well, they rely on a skeletal support system made up of calcareous spicules, siliceous spicules, or spongin fibers. Just imagine a microscopic network of tiny, rigid spikes or flexible fibers acting as scaffolding for the whole creature, keeping that hollow cylinder perfectly propped open.
And because they lack actual organs, they rely on this loose organization of cells that act kind of like a highly specialized factory workforce. You've got pinacocytes, which form the protective outer layer. Then there are choanocytes, which are absolutely crucial for maintaining the vital water current inside the sponge. Finally, you have amoebocytes, which store the reserved food. Every single cell has a specific job, beautifully replacing the need for complex organ systems.
Section 3. Feeding and breathing basics.
So, how do they eat? They use a holozoic mode of nutrition, and it works exactly like a super sophisticated plumbing system. Water, which is packed with tiny food particles, enters through those tiny pores we mentioned called ostia and travels right into that central cavity, the spongicoele. The food material is captured and digested intracellularly, which means it's digested right inside the cells themselves. Finally, all the leftover water is pushed out of the body through a single, large opening at the top called the osculum. It's this continuous, life-sustaining flow, driven entirely by those choanocytes, whipping up water currents along the inner canals. And here is where the minimalism gets absolutely wild. They don't have a respiratory system. They don't have an excretory system. Bodily processes like respiration and excretion take place strictly by means of simple diffusion. No lungs to breathe, no kidneys to filter, oxygen just passes directly into the cells from the water, and waste passes directly out. It is the ultimate, and I mean ultimate, expression of biological minimalism.
Section 4. The art of reproduction.
Sponges build serious resilience through asexual reproduction, utilizing methods like budding or fragmentation. But the truly incredible part? The regeneration. Because their cells are so loosely organized, a fragment or, incredibly, even a single isolated cell can completely reorganize and regenerate into a brand new complete sponge. I mean, think about that. It's basically a real-life biological superpower.
But they don't just rely on cloning themselves asexually. They can also reproduce sexually. And their strategy here is brilliantly simple. Step 1. Male gametes are released directly into the water current by one sponge. Step 2. Those gametes travel with the flow of the water and enter a neighboring sponge, where fertilization takes place with an egg cell right inside the neighbor's body. They cleverly use the ocean's own currents as a delivery system to connect and form a new individual.
Section 5. Famous sponges and evolution.
Let's put some names to these faces. Here are a few notable examples you might encounter. We have leucoselenia and Sycon, which is also known as Scypha. But it gets even more fascinating when we look at Euplectella, beautifully known as the Venus flower basket. What a great name, right? And then, of course, there's Euspongia, the common bath sponge. Yes, historically, that natural bath sponge you might use to scrub in the shower is actually the skeleton of this exact animal.
When biologists look deeper at traits like their intracellular digestion and the distinct resemblance of the sponge's amphiblastula larvae to flagellated protozoa, a really clear evolutionary picture emerges. And this brilliantly illustrates a crucial point. These similarities strongly suggest that sponges evolved directly from colonial flagellated protozoa. They are literally an ancient bridge between single-celled life and the complex animal kingdom we know today.
Which leaves us with this final, provocative thought to ponder. If these brainless, organless creatures of Phylum Porifera have thrived so efficiently across millions and millions of years, what does that say about the true necessity of biological complexity? Sometimes, nature proves that keeping it simple isn't just an option, it's the absolute ultimate evolutionary strategy. I hope this explainer has completely transformed how you view the humble sponge. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you on the next one.